Quite often, we feel like we need more structure in our lives to create inner peace. We have to-do lists, we have tasks, we have schedules, all these kind of things that we list through throughout our days, the high standards we place on ourselves. We feel like we need that to create space, to create inner peace. But in fact, it's only creating more stress and more high density within the day that you're already living. I went from extreme anorexia to recover to building my own business to be a support for others. In here, I share my tips, experience, inspiration for life, confidence, entrepreneurship, and feeling worthy again. And I do have to say that I'm guilty of that myself. I love having lists with things to tick off boxes. And I do feel like when I ticked off all of the boxes, I have time, but I don't have time anymore after that because I was so busy and I was so in the moment that I needed to really finish all of the tasks that I had for myself, that I'm already drained when I'm done with all of that and I don't have time anymore for myself. So that's something that really hit me because I was working so hard to create time, but I didn't have any time anymore because I was tired as hell. It's good that you have structure on paper, but you really need to sit with yourself and ask yourself, like, hey, is this realizable and do I really have time afterwards for myself, or am I placing my standards too high? We often do, and what people do nowadays, and what I did before I started as an entrepreneur, is that when I had a lot of things to do for myself in the evening, I was blogging, I was writing my book, and all these kind of things. But for a certain, there came a moment through thought tonight when I was working on my book that I overlooked all of the pages, that the letters literally were dancing on the screen. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't focus anymore. I need to stop. And on paper for me it was like, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna write my book, and then I have some time for myself, maybe to do a sudoku puzzle or to read something or some, or yeah, search for another trip or something to go to. But then when I was writing my book, I was already like, I'm tired, I can't do a certain other thing anymore. And when I stepped into entrepreneurship, I was like, yeah, now my schedule is even getting busier and fuller. But that was not the case because through thought trainings, I realized, like, hey, I need to schedule my time and I need to prioritize things. And I really was looking into my schedule and I was like, are these things important and do I need to prioritize them, or should I better focus on something else and really create time for myself? And now I prioritize my health as well, and the time that I'm offline and the time that I just detach from all the noise out there. And that is exactly something that you need to fit into your schedule. And sometimes we feel like, yeah, but I'm not productive, or I don't do a certain thing. Yes, you do. You give time to yourself and you give yourself space to let creative ideas come to mind, because creative ideas don't come where you're too busy. When you're overflowing yourself with all certain kind of tasks, creativity, ideas, and opportunities will only come to you when you have space for yourself, and you create space when you sit with yourself and you truly have a look at the life you're living. And for most people, including me before, it's really scary to sit with yourself, because when you have no podcast, no music, there's no one around you to have a conversation with, you're only with yourself and your own thoughts. But that's where it all happens, because you're gonna spiral maybe. Maybe some negativity comes through mind, maybe some thoughts from the past, but you also need to give yourself time and space to recover from things that maybe happened in the past. And also dare to sit with yourself, to ask yourself bold questions, like they say. So, how do I want to live my life? Do I live the life for someone else, or am I really stepping into someone who I want to become? And am I taking action on the person that I want to become or not? And when it's not the case, don't feel sad and disappointed. Know that you have the wheel in hands to make a change and go and create a life for the person who you want to become. And know that real structure doesn't come from pushing yourself and only having things on paper. Real inner peace comes from daring to sit with yourself, ask yourself the questions about life. And yeah, maybe it sounds like, yeah, This is cheesy, but this is the truth. If you don't dare to sit with yourself and ask yourself questions about life, about who you are, and whose life you're living, because I see and I have lived that myself, that a lot of people live the life of someone else because they're afraid of judgments, because they're afraid of being left alone, because they're afraid of things that happened in the past that they will get on the replay. But the life you're living right now is not the life that you have lived in the past. And the person that you are right now is not the person who was there in the past. You have the wheel in hands to take action and make the outcome different. So true inner peace comes from accepting who you are, allowing yourself to be yourself, and don't living the life of someone else so you can make your own decisions. When you give yourself time and space to sit with yourself and go deeper into who you are and who you want to become, that's where structure comes from. So a part of what I teach to the people I mentor and to the women that I help stepping into self-confidence and self-leadership again. And if you want to learn more about my mentorship, about building an online business with a basic foundation, with trust, clarity, and building your self-worth up again, you can always book a call with me. I will place a link in the description. I hope you got a lot of value from this video, and I got to see you in the next one.